Alright, welcome to the spoiler section of this video.
Right, okay.
We've got Kevin here. Let's
where
talk about the movie. You've been warned. Spoilers. Spoilers here.
The part where it's like...
The movie's about to get ruined, so let's talk about the movie now.
The part where it's about James Franco, at least just blur that out completely. And then it's like, replay it here.
Okay, so basically the character James Franco...
Plays.
Who was shown in the trailers a lot. Well, not in the trailers, but in this clip, the prologue scene. He's shown all throughout that throughout that clip. He dies instantly in this movie. It's like the first 2 minutes of the movie. He dies.
Yeah, in the first scene, he's dead. No, in the second scene, he's dead, and they long out the sadness of his death too much, but we get no real time to emotionally connect with James Franco's character. Like I didn't even know it was James Franco until you told me it was James Franco.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, dude, this dude dies.
And then, but to be fair, they do show photos of him.
Yeah, that's after though.
But I feel like it's wasted potential. It's wasted acting. It's wasting casting in a way. You have James Franco. He's a funny dude. He's good with dramas. You know, he did 127 hours.
He did Spider-Man 3.
But he's a good actor, right?
Yeah, he played the Green Goblin really well.
And when I say he didn't do anything, I mean, for people that have watched it, or for people that are just watching it because they don't give a shit, he doesn't do anything.
Nah,
he literally lays in the bed and dies. In the clips, he does more. He actually stands up in the clips and talks to people.
Yeah.
It's like almost advertisement. But I'm not gonna let that get in the way with the movie because the movie's the final product. But that really made me go. They actually just killed James Franco.
Yeah,
he doesn't say a single fucking word.
No, the only time you get to see James Franco are in the photos that his wife looks over, and then right at the end there's a big photo at the end that shows the original crew before everyone died.
Was this the Covenant or the Prometheus?
The Covenant.
The Covenant. Okay.
Yeah, you see him a couple of times when his wife is looking at the photos, and then one time at the end of the photo where it shows the original crew.
Yeah.
Also, right, Michael Fassbender kissing Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the scene in the movie.
Alright, this is what I'm talking about. So earlier I was like, that there was a part of the movie where you wouldn't think it's an alien movie, you just think it's a good, it's a good movie, that it's a good part of a movie, good different thing that adds on to the alien movie that really well. The whole part that explores the history of the engineers and then Michael Fassbender fighting Michael Fassbender. I didn't personally feel like that was really part of the alien movie, but it then really tied in really well with the whole David thing right at the end, which we figured out. Earlier on, but it's still a really good twist.
Yeah. I think we should first talk about structuring the spoilers.
Yeah.
So, James Franco dies in the movie. There's a scene where fucking Michael Fassbender kisses Michael Fassbender, which is pretty fucking funny and cool. So James Franco dies. What's the next thing that happens? We get a distress call from Shaw, Elizabeth Shaw, who's from the original movie. So remember, Kevin here hasn't seen Prometheus. So he went in this movie like almost completely blind. I kind of gave him a quick summary of the movie.
Yeah.
But other than that, he went in blind. Alright.
I've been trying to burp like the last half an hour, but it just won't come out.
Okay.
I feel like I wouldn't be sick because of it.
Really?
I feel that.
Okay. So what other spoilers? What's the next spoiler that happens, really?
Spoilers, I mean like a lot of the crew die.
Oh yeah, so basically when they land on the planet because they got the distress signal by Shaw, and they're trying to look for a planet that they can inhabit for these colonists because they're carrying over 2,000 of them, which is a lot of people, and they're trying to find a planet, and they stumble upon this planet because of the distress call, and they land on it. And straight away, shit hits the fan. Yeah. It really does.
That shit goes, like, everywhere.
It goes everywhere.
It's, like, cover the walls, like...
This movie earns its 15 rating, or, in America, the R rating. See, I
don't understand that. Like, here we have, like, PG, then 15, then 18. In America, you just have teenagers, and then straight 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
There's no like middle ground.
It's probably a little bit more complex than that. But I see what you mean. So, and for me, that's when the pacing. That's when I was like, wait a minute, what's the pacing? Where's this going? Because the first half an hour of the movie is kind of slow. It builds up. It builds up. It builds up. And then then they go to the planet, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna explore the planet. And I swear to God, it takes about 3 or 4 minutes until someone gets infected, and then we have this really cool scene. Yeah. But for me, the pacing ruined it, because I was like, oh, we're already at this scene already? Yeah. So that was an issue with me with the pacing. But I mean, that scene, the med bay scene, is amazing.
Okay. Yeah, see, I found the pacing fine, because when it was slow, it explored. It gave us right. So the pacing for me, the pacing ties in with the characters, because even the characters aren't that well established, but they're established enough to match the pacing.
Yeah.
The slow pacing at the start of the movie. So there's a slow pacing right at the start of the movie where it shows a bit of David, and then it shows the after area. So once like the slow pacing goes in, you see the fast pacing, and everything, like, for me, just ties in perfectly.
Okay. I agree. But I still think that it kind of goes off. The movie's pacing goes a bit off, and the tone changes, because I think Ridley Scott wanted to make the fans satisfied from Prometheus, but also people that saw Alien to be satisfied. Yeah. You can tell that he wanted to add Prometheus, the sequel, and Alien, the sequel, in a way.
Yeah.
Because there's a section of the movie where it completely changes from Prometheus to Alien, and that's literally like the final 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a big problem. I mean, the Prometheus/Alien part, I know a lot of reviewers out there don't agree with that. So, like, Chris Stuckman, I heard in his review, he was like, oh, I don't like the transfer from Prometheus to Alien. But I didn't see it. I really didn't see it. The only issue I had was just the pacing in my view. Because I can't see myself watching this movie from start to beginning again.
Really?
Like, not in a bad way, but like, you'll start, and it'll take about half an hour to get in, then the shit starts kicking off.
Right. See,
I would kind of like skip a little bit, just so I can get to that point.
I like that, because when the good stuff does come, like when the fucking like chunky stuff does come, it's like really satisfying.
I guess, yeah. Because that's a good point.
Because it's not like you've earned it, like not in a way if you earned it or anything, but you're like, okay, so I know enough about the characters, I know enough about what happened before, I know enough about what's going on for the story to then progress into the action part, and the part where it got fast was the medbay scene. If like, I think we can agree on that. The part where you know it's gone good is the medbay scene.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great scene. We're gonna talk about that scene now. The medbay scene might be my best.
Really?
Maybe my favorite. It's definitely one of the best scenes.
Fair enough.
But apparently on Alien Day, because there's actually an official Alien Day.
Yeah.
Where they showed this footage, apparently. So if you've already seen the footage for the medbay scene, it kind of ruins the movie, because you've already seen like one of the best moments in the film. But for us, we loved it. I mean, did you love the film?
Yeah,
the scene?
Yeah.
The scene was great, because the music, it was really good in this scene.
To be fair, speaking of music, and speaking of amazing scenes, my favourite scene is probably the end scene. The part where the woman realizes that it's David and not Walter, and he just smiles at her.
Oh my god!
He gets Mother to play the music.
So much to talk about, yo!
He gets Mother to play the music, and he just carries on, and he starts like regurgitating these alien eggs.
Yes. I want to talk about that, but I feel like there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, it feels really 2001.
There's a lot of shit to talk about, because this movie is like this is more, I want to say it's more teasing than Prometheus. I mean, this movie has answers. For instance, we know how the xenomorphs or the aliens are now made.
Yeah.
We know that.
And do
you think that was handled well?
Yeah.
Do you think?
It was handled well, but at the same time, when I watched Alien, I wasn't too bothered as to why the xenomorphs were there. I was happy. This is just a personal thing, but I was happy thinking that the xenomorphs were there because aliens exist. I mean, because like this is just an off topic, but you can't deny that aliens don't exist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, for me personally, I think aliens do have an existence within this universe.
Yeah, like it's because
there's no way that we're literally like a grain of sand compared to the universe.
It's like
there's no way we're the only species out there.
Yeah, saying alien exists, like this is like a quote I've stolen. Saying alien exists from what you can see in the universe is like dipping a cup into the sea and being like, oh, no whales or anything exist because you can't see them in the cup.
That's true. I mean, this movie, it's so interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we don't see as real people, but it's so entertaining to watch. It really is. It really is. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about the spoilers midway through the movie? So that's a good point. We get introduced to David
again,
who was in Prometheus.
Yeah.
But from Kevin's perspective, this is his first time seeing him. So, what did you think of his introduction?
Right. One thing I have a bit of a picky with. I mean, like. What I like about the movie is that they established David well right at the start, where they show that he's the first of these like androids. What I don't like is that, especially the first one, androids, like, this is just as like a computer science student, like androids won't be this human.
Right.
They will be extremely logical.
Okay.
And honestly, it would be the other way around. It wouldn't be that the first one is really human. It'd be the last one that's really human.
Yeah.
So that's just like a tiny little picky thing. I can live with that. And me living with that makes like this movie an amazing movie.
I mean, I do love how David in this movie is almost similar to Ash in Alien, where Ash is kind of just doing what he's told, but he's also doing it because he wants to, because he's fascinated by the alien. He's fascinated by the potential of what can be done with this creature. And I love that. And then David is better than all the androids in the movie. Even Bishop from Aliens and Ash from
Alien. I preferred Walter.
Walter?
Yeah.
Walter. But the androids in this movie are the best, I think.
Yeah.
Because you've only seen Aliens, but the androids are so well done in this movie. They really are. Let's talk about Walter. Walter? Yeah. Let's talk about Walter. What do you think about Walter?
Walter was well done. He was... For someone that right at the end said that they're really not that human compared to David, they seemed a bit human. But this is just like a side picky thing. Walter was still really good.
Yeah, Walter was great. I love how Walter was really confused. Well, not confused, but kind of like, what are you talking about with David? He didn't really understand what David's point was. He was like, I loved. Okay, there's so much to talk about. Basically, David talks to Walter, and he basically lies to him. He lies to him saying, I loved Elizabeth Shaw, who was in Prometheus, who was the last woman or human to survive from the Prometheus. He said that he loved her, but we know that's false towards the end of the movie. But it's interesting how Walter interacts as a very civil and very plain android for the movie, where he's like, "Why?" Well,
that's because I feel like that's just because he's trying to gain trust.
You think?
Yeah.
So you think he's more cleverer than he's
really built? Yeah. He's like he shows that he's really smart.
Right. Okay. I mean, for me, I think Walter's very interesting. Like I said, Michael Fassbender fucking...
Yeah.
He just makes androids. I mean, I was really surprised with how they did the scenes with the two of them.
Yeah.
Like the special effects wise and like
When Michael Fassbender kills Michael Fassbender.
fucking kiss Michael Fassbender. So basically, in these scenes where Michael Fassbender and Michael Fassbender interact with each other, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I actually found it quite fascinating to watch these two, because the first thing we see with just the two of them is where David is teaching Walter, who's the new android, about how to play the flute.
Yeah.
Which I found really interesting, because he's like, this is how you play it, this is how you make it. So he's almost making...
He's trying to turn Walter into one of him.
Yeah, he's trying to teach him, he's trying to become his creator.
Yeah, because that's a really good undertone there.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to become Walter's creator essentially, and Walter is programmed not to create, but he's trying to essentially break that barrier and getting Walter to create.
It's interesting to see how something that's not meant to be creative at all, it's not built within a system.
Yeah.
But you can tell later on in the movie that it becomes more creative.
Yeah.
You really can, and that's what I really like.
And the part where it's most creative is when you realise that part is David, not Walter.
Exactly. David he's gone evil. In this movie, he really doesn't care about humanity. He even says in the movie, I don't care about my creator. I didn't feel sympathy for him.
He felt pity, yeah.
Yeah, he only felt a little bit pity towards him. Which I was like, wow. Which answered my questions for Prometheus anyway.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I really liked. There's a few things that get answered in this movie. And that's how the xenomorph is made.
Yeah.
Which is the main alien we know very well. Of.
That's like the alien.
The alien. The exact alien. We know what David's motivations are, kind of. And I guess that's another issue with the movie, is that we don't find out everything that was questioned in Prometheus. But I actually don't mind that, because I know we know for a fact there's another movie after this.
Yeah. There just has to be.
There has to be another movie after this movie. But in a way, I'm like, I really wanted to know why the engineers don't like us that much. But apparently that's already been answered by Ridley himself. But I really want to see how that turns out in a narrative structure.
in the physical movie.
Yeah.
Because the thing is with the engineers is that in this movie they're portrayed as welcoming to David, but then they see that he's actually releasing this black goo all over everyone.
Yeah.
So then they run, and then obviously there's no more engineers left.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because you kind of know why he does it. It's because he was kind of mad at the engineers because because Elizabeth died.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's kind of not confirmed in this movie, because he says Elizabeth died within her sleep. But then
you don't know.
Later on in the movie, you kind of find out more screwed up stuff. But I was like, I hope to God they don't do anything messed up with Elizabeth Shaw in this movie. But sadly, you find out that David does some pretty messed up stuff with her, and that stuff is, I don't know how to explain it. David uses her body parts to make the xenomorph.
The thing I don't understand is the engineers are essentially perfect for society. So why is David so mad at them? Because that's what he's after.
Basically, in Prometheus, well, no, actually, even in this movie, you don't really need to watch Prometheus for this movie. But basically, in Alien Covenant, he's mad at them because their technology wasn't able to support Elizabeth during her sleep crisis. You know, where they sleep in those pods and they go to sleep for a bit. That killed her, apparently. That completely killed her. And David was like, "I fucking dare you. I thought you were meant to be gods." And he was like, "You know what? You killed the only thing that mattered to me." Because in the movie he said, Elizabeth Shaw showed more care to me than my own creator. She repaired me. She fixed me after my damage. And you can see that. and you can see why he cares so much about her. But then she dies because the engineers didn't build a sleep, thingy for her that was built for humans, and I guess that killed her. And he was like, you know what, fuck this, and he fucking dropped all those the black goo on all the engineers, and I was like, holy shit, he killed it. He killed the whole fucking engineers. He fucking did it. That was a great scene. I loved how they were all like running away, and then they got fucking melted, and they're like, ah!
It was like,
and they were all reaching for the gate, and then they couldn't reach it in time. And I love that.
I think like that's a good commentary on the whole Vesuvius thing, because that's like a commentary on how like I guess Vesuvius was considered a good civilization, and then it was just destroyed completely.
Yeah.
And there was obviously the new civilization, which is what David wants.
Yeah, I mean definitely. David wants to make the perfect specimen. And if you've seen this movie, or you just don't care about the movie's spoilers, David makes the xenomorph. David is who made the xenomorphs. He made the original Alien in Alien. Although, I don't know, maybe he makes a more perfected version somehow. Because the eggs in this movie look slightly different, and the xenomorph is slightly different.
I guess they evolve into the xenomorphs we know in Alien.
Yeah, maybe. But it's pretty much the same Alien. And what did I think to it? I thought it was good. I mean, even though I think Alien should be all about mystery. It should all be about how was that made? How was Alien born? How was it all done?
Yeah.
And this movie kind of it did answer it. I felt satisfied. You don't really feel like you go, oh, is that it? Like, it's not like something connects to something and it's just made.
Yeah.
It's had a lot of thought-provoking behind it. A lot of time and effort was spent to make this thing, so you feel satisfied with it. Yeah. You really do, I think. And when the alien, the main alien, the xenomorph is made, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay,
the chest bursting scene was awesome.
The gore in this movie is really well done.
Yeah, because the gore, the scene in which the chest burster comes out, which is kind of shown in the trailer, and that's kind of a disappointment that the trailer's kind of showed what happened. But even the goddamn chest bursting scene was gruesome. Yeah. Like, most of this movie, it was like, wow, they stepped it up a notch, especially from Prometheus. I mean, you can watch this and go, holy shit, there's so much going on, there's so much blood and gore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the chest bursting scene was satisfying as hell. And you can tell that David is so proud to be the mother or the father of these aliens. Because I guess they don't think much of him because he's just an android.
Yeah, cause another thing that's pointed out is that they attack things that aren't like properly living, so that's why they attack the humans but not the androids.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess that's
because they can kind of sense that they're not human.
Yeah. So that's the power that David has over the androids.
Because he had complete control over these creations. He spent years. He spent time. He probably spent 10 years.
Yeah,
on creating this stuff. So he had time to make it so that it doesn't kill him specifically, and it kills the humans. And he just wants to make the perfect specimen so that it doesn't do what the engineers did, and it doesn't do what the human creators did to him, which is great. What other spoilers?
We recorded for like half an hour.
I know. What else should we talk about?
I mean, I can't really think of anything else.
Towards the end, let's talk about the ending. So they kill the xenomorph, the alien in that crane thing.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like I feel like another issue with the movie is that the way they killed the alien is really cheap and easy.
Yeah, it was not
like there's not.
It wasn't that wow.
Yeah, there wasn't a moment where you went, oh, that's a cool death. That's a cool death.
I was expecting her to get like some blaster, like shoot him off the.
Yeah, but there's not that moment in the movie. It's kind of like, quickly the crane, and then done.
Although I feel like that underwhelming death might have been a foreshadowing as to Walter actually being David.
Right.
Because you'd think that, like, because if it was actually Walter, they'd end it like, yeah, cool, like, that's actually Walter, everything's all well and good. But because it's David, they give slightly underwhelming ending, so they've got a bit more time to establish that it's actually David and not Walter.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do see what you mean with that. I mean, basically, throughout the last narrative of the movie is that you think it's Walter, but me and Kevin knew it was David.
Yeah.
We both knew it was David. So David must have had to cut his arm off.
Yeah.
Or maybe he programmed his mind into into Walter.
I think he just cut his arm off.
Or maybe he might have just cut his arm off and made his screws.
Because he had a knife to kill.
That's true. That's true. He could have just cut his arm off.
If I thought, you know, because we know that Walter doesn't die because he's like an upgraded version of David, so he's just stuck on the island now.
Maybe.
So maybe in the next thing we go back to the island to see that David.
That's the thing I love but hate about this movie is that now, at the very end of the movie, when they killed the xenomorph that was on the ship, that I guess was planted in by the David that was disguising himself as Walter. He planted it in the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Who plays as Bob in The Hateful Eight, if you haven't seen, but he's the guy who has the burnt face in the movie. But he must have planted an egg in him to burst their xenomorph out to then set free. But eventually, Danny McBride's character, who's Tennessee, and then what's her name? I forgot her name. Danny? They call her Danny as a nickname, but Danny basically kills him by shoving this thing on him.
Yeah.
And then they go into cryosleep. And just before she's about to go to sleep, she's got the thing on her, and she goes, are we gonna build that cabin, you know, that we talked about at the beginning of the movie? And he doesn't say a word, and I was like, oh no, dude. And he just smiles and goes, doesn't say a word, and she's like, David. And he's like, that's me. And I was like, oh my god, no! And that's so good. I mean, it's a good ending, but it makes me go, oh my god, I want this movie even more.
Yeah, like, you want the next movie.
I mean, it's a great movie. It really makes you wanting more, and I think it's one of the best well done prequels nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, you got Peter Jackson, who did the Hobbit trilogy. You got George Lucas, who did the Star Wars trilogy. And both of those, in my opinion, weren't that great. You know, The Hobbit didn't need to be that long. The Star Wars trilogy, I don't think needed to be made, particularly. But this series, I'm loving.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I love it, but I really am engaged.
Yeah.
I really hope that the last movie he makes in this trilogy, which is called Alien Awakening, will answer all the questions.
I killed David.
Why Agent... Yeah, kill David. Fucking, he's evil, man. But I want to know why the engineers wanted to kill us. And I want some answers. I think that's the only thing with this movie, is that you need more answers to really satisfy yourself after Prometheus. But, man, I want the next movie now.
Yeah.
I want the next movie now. So if a movie can do that, it deserves its high score, and I think this movie deserves it for sure.
I'm sticking by my 10 score.
10 score. I still want to go with an 8 because I'm still thinking about the movie. Even now, we've already watched it, but I want to just keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to think about this movie a lot. Especially if you're a big Alien fan, you're going to keep thinking about this movie. Regardless.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, regardless. And the fact that this, you know, Kevin here hasn't watched any other Alien movie except from Alien, and that he's given this a 10, that should say something.
It was like a really good movie.
Yeah, that's saying something. So you should definitely see this movie. If you're watching this, go see the movie now. I mean, you don't have to see it in IMAX. Just sit really close to the 2D screening and you'll get your money's worth for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's some really satisfying scenes the mainstream audience can enjoy, and even this niche, smaller audience can enjoy. Such as the flute scene, where he teaches Walter to create stuff.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this movie. It's a satisfying movie. I think it was definitely worth the 5-year wait. I mean, for you, you obviously didn't have to wait because you never watched Prometheus.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt as if it was satisfying. I did. And I have few issues, but other than that, dude, it's an 8 out of 10 for me, for sure. I mean, and as you said, it's a 10.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about at all, or is that...
No, I think that's covered it good.
All of it. Okay. So if you enjoyed this, then let us know. If you want us to talk about...
Smash that like button, guys.
Smash that motherfucking like button! But, if you want us to talk about a different movie, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Or even my view, then let us know. But, yeah. Anything else? Go see Alien Covenant. It's a good movie. Definitely recommend it. Thank you for watching. Don't do drugs. Just fucking drink alcohol, I guess.
Buy Apple.
Buy Apple.